Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast, where we talk about all things sustainable fat loss. We take people on 90-day journeys to creating fat loss forever. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Breaking 90 podcast. I'm here today with Kat Trudel. Kat is a previous client of Breaking 90 Fitness. And I think she just has a lot of insight and experience from her previous journey that would be beneficial for you guys to hear and listen to, and to hear it from somebody other than me, always just telling you guys what to do. So I'm excited to hear things from somebody who's been through the process and who's made some pretty spectacular changes, what they have to say. So thanks for joining me today, Kat.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. So we just for the listeners, so we both have sons that are like the exact same age, so that's kind of fun. It's kind of exciting. We're heading into the holiday season, and both of our, when you're listening to this, mind you, it's going to be after holiday season, but that doesn't really matter. Both of our sons are super excited. So you just mentioned to me that Teo's excited about Optimus Prime. What is that? What's that all about?
It's the only thing he's asked for Christmas. It's a Transformer
like a specific
Prime.
one?
He wasn't specific, so I hope we got the right one.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, it's been 4 days to Optimus Prime. Yeah, so let's just hope I got the right one.
So we like did all of our Christmas shopping, not super early, but like early enough. And then maybe like a week and a half before Christmas, his teachers did this assignment where the kids cut out pictures of what they want.
Yep.
And I was like, what are you doing? Yep. We are done Christmas shopping. Do not let him get new ideas in his head.
Yep. He did the same thing. He came home one night and he's like, I made a Santa list. I'm like, oh yeah, with all the magazines they asked for? Yep. And I said, that stays at school. So far I haven't seen it.
Yeah, get your teachers to send that one to Santa.
Yeah.
Okay, so background story. Kat did a 90-day journey with us back in 21, right? The end of 21.
Yep.
And then came back for a 6-week challenge that we hosted last year. That was something new that we were trying last year. So I know how much you loved the 6-week challenge. So basically in the 90-day journey, you made a ton of progress. You got to kind of your goal. What was the reason you came back for the 6-week challenge?
I needed a kick in the ass.
Okay. And did you get a kick in the ass?
Yeah. And then some. Like how the 90-day, it's like, it's so not restrictive in comparison to, not even in comparison, it's not restrictive at all. And right. Then you do the 6-week, and that was tough. That was extremely restrictive, but it was honestly, it was what I needed. Because after the 90 days, my wife and I were like, okay, let's maintain as much as we can. And to be honest, for the most part, we did for the better part of a year and a half. But then
even when you came back at the beginning of the 6-week challenge, I mean, your weight hadn't gone up. I think you were up like 2 pounds from like the between the entire amount of time that you weren't working with us. So you
like pretty much probably water weight, because I was eating, and the reason why I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and it wasn't even a discussion. Like I didn't even talk to my wife. I'm just like, I'm doing the 6-week challenge. Bear with me. Was the discussion that I had, because my pasta drawer was full, my bread pantry was full, I had less veggies than I used to. Like I just shifted out of, like I was falling off the wagon hard.
Right.
So I thought, you know what, 6 weeks, not bad, doable. I'm happy I did it, but it was 6 weeks of hell. The first 2 weeks were horrid.
Was it 6 weeks of hell, or was it like the first week of hell and then it wasn't so bad?
2.5, 3 weeks of hell, I will say, honestly. Being in a household with 2 women who are both on their period, who both are foodies and like to feel full, and yeah, let's just.
Okay, so I need to clarify then. So for the listeners, what we do sustainable fat loss. So when Kat talks about her 90-day journey, like that's what we are typically preaching and talking about, is sustainable fat loss. It shouldn't be miserable. It shouldn't be unenjoyable. This isn't the norm. So basically, when we look at a long journey, we want people to take sustainable fat loss for most of the journey. If we talk about a lifetime or a year, whatever the full picture is, sustainable fat loss for most of that journey. There's going to be some periods periods of maintenance through things like holidays and vacation and summer and part of maybe your birthdays or Thanksgiving, those kind of things. We'll do periods of maintenance where we're not pushing progress, but then occasionally, if somebody's in the right place, we will prescribe what we call rapid fat loss, where we do a quick push for a short period of time, like 6 weeks. That's what Kat's talking about. So if you guys are reaching out to us for the first time, we're probably not going to torture you. So I'm sorry for scaring anybody who's listening. Okay, so I've got a couple questions for you today that I think people find interesting. Feel free to take them in any direction you want, and I'll prod you if I want to get more out of it. What is something that you know now that you wish you had known before you started your health and fitness journey earlier in your life?
Main thing is honestly that it's not all or nothing. Because really, everything you see on social media, what I've learned through school with fitness and stuff like that, it's, eat right, work out every day, do all of these things, but there's no balance of life that happens at all. And the all or nothing thinking is, I wish I knew that, because even going into this program and the discovery calls and all those different conversations that we have before we even get into the program, I kept asking, what are we restricting? Are you restricting any foods? What is it? Because I've been taught my whole life, and I mean naively, because I never looked into it. I'm really lazy. I don't like to work out. Don't tell me I can't eat something, because I won't do it. But it's the all or nothing thinking. And then the minute we shifted that into do your best, or minimize the damage, or just do your bare ass minimums, it changed the whole, honestly, my life honestly in the last 2 years have changed, that it's not all or nothing. Just do a bit better. Instead of having your hungry man for breakfast plus a French toast, just do your hungry man. And for me, that was a win.
Right. Yeah, and so I think that's where a lot of people do really well with diets initially, is that there is so much restriction and you have to do this, and this, that it's like, okay, well, the guidelines are straight. I don't have anywhere to veer off my path because this is what I have to do. But then after 28 days, you're like, I don't want to live my life like this anymore, right? So that's cool. So you're talking all or nothing in both basically an exercise and a nutrition sense when you say that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just having a conversation yesterday with somebody, because this kind of resonates with me, what you're saying, and she was like, I can't fit my workouts in on the weeks that I have my kids at home. So she has her kids every other week, and she's like, I can't fit them in, it's crazy. And then I was like, okay, so what are we doing on the weeks you don't have your kids at home? She's like, well, I'm not doing anything because I can't get into that cycle. I'm like, so let's start with exercising on the weeks we don't have the kids and build a routine and off of that. And she's like, frick, why would I not think of that? It's so simple, but these are the things that are going to push us forward. It's exactly what you're saying. It's not perfecting everything. It's making a few small changes, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. So you mentioned bare ass minimums. This is something that we talk about a lot. Our bare ass minimums, or our BAMs, are basically our weekly or daily or monthly non-negotiables, the stuff that we know no matter what, we're going to stop ourselves from falling into that all or nothing thinking. There's a whole world between all and nothing. So instead of during a busy time of life or an injury or an illness or a schedule change, instead of saying, okay, well, I'm out of here, I'll start fresh again January 1st, we set these BAMs, these non-negotiables that, okay, even in my worst day or my worst week, I can commit to these things. Is that something that you're still doing now that you're no longer working with us?
Yeah. And I think that's what's been enabled me to keep me on track, or maintaining, or a nice place. When I was I in the program or not? Anyways, I don't remember if it was part of the program where you introduced, we can try fasting, different types of whatever.
Yep.
And initially, again, with everything that has to do with food, I'm like how I'm gonna do that. That sounds ridiculous. But then the more it was explained to me, I was like, oh, I could do that. The 16, whatever the math is, 16-8 hour rule, which is what I try and limit myself to. I try my best not to eat past 8, because that's where my trouble some hours kind of hit. So 12 to 8 was my kind of fasting hour. So to me, if there's that is my absolute bare ass minimum, is if I know I have Christmas coming up or whatever, stick to that.
Cool.
And don't eat anything horrible, let's say, before 12. Or if it's just something to kind of get me to 12, and then after 8, it's like that's it. That's my absolute bare ass minimum. Another one is drink more water, because I drown if I drown by drinking a liter. But if I can at least have half a liter a
I
day,
remember.
I'm happy about it. And then
I remember.
the third thing was, I've really enjoyed eating like a container of veggies, of just raw veggies every
Sweet.
day. And like with the 6-week program, I went, I forgot how much I like this. Like I forgot. Keeps me regular. It feels great. I'm not bloated. Like, and it fills me up.
That's awesome. So there's a couple things you said here that I want to touch on. The first one, the fasting. I think fasting is a really cool tool. It's gotten a lot of hype in the past couple of years where people are like, "Oh, fasting's magical." So far I haven't discovered any magic with it other than it lets me eat bigger meals, which it sounds like to you is awesome. Also, like I'm exactly like that. I would rather have a couple big meals in a short period of time than little grazing meals throughout the day. A grazing meal isn't going to tie me over. I'm going to feel hungry after. So
Yep.
to me, if I can push my meals a little bit later and make bigger feedings, it pays off huge. And it's not the type of thing where you have to do this every single day. But like you said, you're coming into a big event. Okay, let's apply it to a day like Christmas, where I know I'm going to be eating a lot at dinner. Let's eat a little bit less during the day, or shorten our feeding window during the day so that we can have a bit more freedom. So that's a cool tip. Water, we've talked about water a lot, so I won't dig into water, but I know how much you hate water, so I'm glad that you are pushing yourself out of your comfort zone with water. And then the third one, what did you say that your third one was?
Veggies, like raw
Veggies, of
veggies.
course.
Yeah.
So this is the equivalent to me of when we get in really good shape. If you think back to the time when you're in the best shape of your life and you're like, I want to feel like this forever. I never want this to change. And then slowly something happens in your life where it starts to change, and you don't really notice the changes because they're micro changes day after day after day. And then a year later, you don't really remember how good it felt until you get back to that place. And you're like, holy shit, I'm back here. Why did I ever let this slide? Vegetables are the same. We slowly let vegetables slide because we don't really notice the difference in how we feel until we get back to a place where we're eating lots of vegetables and we realize we're like, oh my God, my body feels amazing. I think this is the same trap people fall into with having kids. They don't remember like how hard that initial stage is. So then like a year later, they're like, I don't think it was that bad. Is there anything you wanted to add there? Is that did we touch on the ones you wanted to mention?
I think you got it all. But I will mention that with the 6-week challenge came the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And second day in, I was so mad at you because we have this gorgeous, abundant garden in the summer. I was like, why couldn't this challenge be in the fucking summer? We have all these veggies. Now I'm eating these nasty ass grocery veggies. Oh, but anyways, regardless, now I'm excited. I'm excited for the summer so I can like eat my own
So you,
vegetables that actually
so you
taste
can do the
good.
challenge again in the summer now.
Well, we'll see.
I like doing it after something like Thanksgiving because I know it's when people really want that kick in the ass. Do you freeze your fresh vegetables?
Yeah, I did actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Such a great idea. That's frozen vegetables is something that I can't stress enough. People will get to the point where they're like, oh, I haven't made it to the grocery store, so I can't get my vegetables. Like frozen vegetables is an option. Stock your freezers.
Yep.
That's great. Okay, the question that I know you're excited for the most, what would you give as the best advice you have for the average woman? So I say average woman because we're not really looking to help the people who are like trying to become professional athletes or compete in fitness competitions, that kind of thing. For the average woman whose main health and fitness goal is to get a little bit leaner, live longer, healthier, better. Like just very, very straightforward goals. They just want to live a better quality life and get a slightly better body composition. What would you give as your best advice to date?
It's pretty vague, I think, but it's just do a bit better than you did yesterday and don't stress out that, oh, I didn't get to the gym today. Well, if you didn't get to the gym today, that's fine. Like, do a little bit more activity in your day, shovel a little harder, but then just go at it a little bit better tomorrow. Like, it's just do a bit better than you did yesterday, but also don't stress about. I think what I'm trying to say is it's consistency over intensity, which I think is the way that you guys
Yeah,
say it all the time. Is stay
absolutely.
consistent with whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's 5 minutes over an intense, hour of whatever, because there's no way that an average woman or a busy person can do a whole hour out of their day, because that would drive me nuts. I never did it. I'll be honest. Like
It
the
it
shortest
it just
workout
becomes
that I was.
unsustainable too, right?
Yeah.
Like I love everything you're saying because it all comes full circle. We talked earlier on about the sustainability of it all. If you go out of the gate, if you're thinking about the start of your fitness journey, whether it's January 1st or February 1st, whenever you're looking at starting your fitness journey and you're like, I'm going to exercise 5 times a week, an hour a day, you're going to last like 2 weeks. You're going to be so friggin' sore. You're going to injure yourself. You're going to get into a pattern where you're like, I can't sustain this with my normal lifestyle. So what you're saying is absolutely massive, right? Doing something instead of falling into that nothing, but not holding yourself to such a high expectation.
Mhm.
I think a lot of the times we look at ourselves when we were what we consider our best, although it's not really a fair comparison. I mean, we compare ourselves to when we were like teenage athletes and we didn't have kids or jobs or households to manage. It's like, oh, I was in such good shape. And yeah, you were training, you were literally moving all day and probably playing a sport every single night. Like it's not realistic for us to do that as we become adults. And so we're comparing ourselves to something that really isn't possible unless you are a professional athlete. And then you mentioned making sure that we commit to these things. So it circles back to the BAMs. What can I stick to right now that isn't going to turn my world upside down? What are the low-hanging fruit that stick out that I could, okay, so I'm not going to get a workout in this week, but could I get in an extra 5 minutes of shoveling or stair climbs or going for a walk? Probably. I think everybody listening to this knows they probably could fit in a 5-minute workout. If you can't fit in a 5-minute workout, like you're it's likely that you're kidding yourself.
And this,
Yeah, no.
like, that's how this program has really helped me, because myself versus my wife are two completely different people. She's so self-motivated, goes to the gym. Like, you won't find me in a gym. A friend asked me, do you want a gym membership? I'm like, come on, you don't know me. But anyways,
Was your friend Kelly?
yeah. I'm like, anyway, just question the friendship there. But I now move around the house and move around the yard much differently, because that's where I get my activity. And it's always where I've gotten my activity. Growing up, I still wasn't a gym rat. I didn't like to do any of these things, but I'll chase the ball, I'll chase the puck around, I'll get my activity and my workout in with what I'm doing. So now I move around the house much differently. I'll go up and down the stairs a bit more. I'll shovel a little extra dirt in the wheelbarrow when I move it. I'll do a couple more squats when I go and grab it. Like, that's where my mindset shifts. And even sometimes when I'm playing with my son, the first thing that comes to mind is, how can I just make this a bit better for me? And it's like, I have to remind myself, no, just play with them sometimes. But really, it's shifted everything. So now I kind of see my life, okay, I can be active doing this without feeling guilty that I'm not doing workouts.
That's so awesome. Because I mean, you crushed it on this program. You achieved everything you wanted to. You made a huge transformation. If you guys listening to this haven't seen Cat's transformation, like, go check it out on our social media. But you're doing this without forcing yourself to do something you hate, like going to the gym. And I
Oh,
think
not
that's
eating
such an
food that I don't want to eat, right? Like, that's also the other thing. Like, I'm a big foodie and I love to eat and stuff my face. The 10-day challenge of eat till you're 80% full. I have no clue when 80% is because I like to be full.
right. And that's like, that's what makes this sustainable. Is if I tell you that you no longer can eat big meals, like you're gonna last 28 days and you're gonna be like, I hate this. This isn't my life. If I tell you you have to go to a gym, you're gonna last a month and be like, okay, well, this sucks now. This isn't my lifestyle. And some people love going to the gym, obviously, like your wife, that's completely different. But finding those extra opportunities for movement, it drives me insane actually when I go to the gym to see all of the people fighting over the closest parking spot in the lot. It's like, you are here for exercise and you're waiting for a closer parking spot.
Yeah.
Like, think about how ridiculous that is. No, that's awesome. I think we've touched on a ton of value here. I really appreciate this, guy. Thank you for taking the time to be here with me and talk about these things, because I think these are important messages. And like I say, it's I think people hearing it from me over and over and over again is a little different than hearing from somebody who's been through the journey. So that's amazing. So once again, I appreciate it.
Well, it's the least I could do for all of your patients when I was in the program.
No. You were great to work with. You've always been great to work with. That being said, I'm probably going to harass you again at some point to join another 6-week challenge.
I'm sure.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you all got value from listening to this. I'm sure you have some takeaways and you might even have some questions. So feel free to reach out to me if you do have questions, and we can dig deeper into some of this stuff that we talked about today. I appreciate you all listening to this, being here with us. Make sure if you did enjoy this episode, you take a screenshot wherever you're listening, share it to your social media, and tag at Breaking 90 Fitness in it so we can see you guys tagging it. That's how we get extra reach and extra listeners, which is really helpful for us. So thanks again. Have a great day. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. Oh, and thanks for the referrals too, Kat. It's been amazing.
I am more than happy, because I honestly, I never want to do a program. I never want to do a diet. And I went into it going, I'll support my wife. I'll also do it. And maybe I'll just, I'll be able to physically get stronger. But I've learned so much more about myself doing the program and then being off of it for so long that, like, just happy I did it.
I think it's so funny that you felt that way going into it, and you've been like one of our most successful clients. you're like, fuck this, I don't want to do this, but I will do it. And you're just like, oh, I'm gonna crush it.